This video is a video number 4 from the Switching to Linux series. In this video, I'm going to go in detail and show you how to install Linux Mint on your PC. Let's do it. Now we cover the Linux distribution choice, Linux Mint. We're going to jump right into the install. But before we get there is a few steps we need to do together to make sure the installation is going to go the more smoothly as possible. First thing, you need to go on Linux Mint website, go and click on download here. And here you're gonna have multiple choice. The one you want to download is called the Cinnamon Edition. So you click on download here, and then you're gonna have a download page with like multiple location. When you are on this page, what you need to do is just go to the download mirror location and find the one which is the nearest to your own location. Pretty easy. If you don't want to do it this way, you can still use any torrent client to download the ISO. There is no like good or bad way to do it. They kind of like advise you to check the integrity and the authenticity of the file itself, the ISO. You can do it if you want. Personally, I'm not doing that, but let's say you want to make sure you can do it. You have a little like link here where they tell you all the different steps to go through it. So before we move to the next step, which is installing the ISO on a USB key and then on a hard drive, we need to go through some basic system setup and hardware understanding for you to have a really smooth whoa Air Max from the future here. I think I went a little bit crazy on this part of the video. I'm actually editing with DaVinci Resolve on my Linux Mint installation. You will see I have a lot of things to say about it, but I went a little bit too far there. I'm talking about the different BIOS and how to do a really good job about installing a Linux ISO for 25 minutes. So I'm gonna keep it short, and that's why I'm here. Let's start with the beginning. Yeah, I went crazy on this one. Sorry about that. So what do you need? From a hardware standpoint, you need a USB key. You can get this one if you want. I'm going to put a little background there. You need, it's my recommendation, an extra hard drive if you don't have one yet. So let's say you are running Windows on your hard drive right now. I will really do not recommend to install Linux on the same partition, same hard drive. This is messy. There is a high chance you're going to lose everything, especially if you're a beginner. So just go get a hard drive, like a SSD. They are really cheap. You can get this model for like, I think it was 23 bucks. And the other model, like you can double the capacity to 480 gigabytes for 8 bucks more USD. So it's like nothing. So yeah, I'm going to put a link of all the hardware I'm showing you in the description below if you want to buy this. And the last one is this little cable here. I really recommend it. It's called USB 3.1 to 2.5 HDG cable. And the advantage of this cable is like on one hand, you can plug the SSD you just buy. You don't need like any power alimentation or anything. And in this end, you just plug it on your motherboard at the back. So it's super convenient to install Linux. The other good news is like if you want to use this hard drive, this installation somewhere else, and you have similar hardware on the other computer, let's say you have an Nvidia card and the other computer has an Nvidia card, for example, you just plug it, boot on it, and it should work. That's pretty neat if you ask me. Now, when it comes to the install, the first thing you need to understand is the BIOS type you have on your motherboard. If you have a really old motherboard, which is like more than 10 years old, you are certainly using what is called like BIOS mode, like the old BIOS mode. But if you have anything newer, which is like 10 years, like let's say 10 years old and younger, well, you're going to certainly have access to UEFI. And depending on the type of BIOS you have, you know, old BIOS or UEFI, you're gonna have to create different type of partition on your USB key. So if you have an old BIOS, you need to go with MBR. That's the type of partition you need. But if you have a new BIOS, you need to go with a partition type called GPT. So when you go into Ventoy, because that's the software I will encourage you to use, make sure you choose GPT when you create your partition on Ventoy. So for Ventoy, I'm going to put a link in the description below for not only the direct website of Ventoy, but also a link toward my tutorial to create a USB key boot with Ventoy. This tool is awesome. Forget about all the other one, just go with Ventoy. What I was explaining for 20 minutes in the video I was recording before is the fact that when you have multiple hard drive in a UEFI type of environment, it can get super confusing. The way it works in a UEFI environment is that when you install an operating system on a hard drive, you're gonna have a little partition at the beginning of the hard drive, which is gonna be your UEFI boot partition. And in this partition, all the data in there is gonna tell the motherboard on which hard drives they are going to boot, depending on the operating system you want to boot on. So let's say you have Linux and Windows. Your first hard drive is gonna have the UEFI partition, and the other partition, let's say, is going to be Windows, for example. And the second hard drive is going to have Linux. And what happens most of the time is that all the information related to the boot are going to be contained in one partition and one hard drive. And this could be a problem, because if you alter this partition in any way, let's say Windows make an update and decide to erase and rewrite the whole UEFI boot partition, there is a high chance you won't be able to boot on your second hard drive on Linux. And this is the situation I don't want you to be as a beginner, because you have no idea of what I'm talking about right now, certainly. I hope I kind of explain it in a simple way. What I really advise you to do is that when you install a new operating system on a new hard drive, make sure you just disconnect the old hard drive. That is going to be way easier for you, way simpler, rather than playing with a UEFI partition and try to be a professional there or an expert. There is no need to do that. What you need to do is just unplug the previous hard drive. So let's say you have Windows right now, you unplug it or you remove it from your computer, totally, if you are scared or you don't know how to deactivate it in the BIOS. But then when you install Linux on the second hard drive, because the installer won't see the UEFI partition, is going to create one on the hard drive you left in your computer. So I hope I'm clear enough. But the idea is you remove your hard drive, existing hard drive with whatever partition you have on it, you take it out, you put the new one, you install Linux Mint. When it's installed, you replug your old hard drive, and then you go into the BIOS and you choose on which hard drive you want to boot. And like that, you will never have this problem related to the UEFI partition. Now, the last point I want to mention. If you have a relatively new motherboard, I would say 3 years old, 2 years old, there is a high chance you're going to have something called FTPM. And what it is, I think it's relative to AMD motherboard. I'm not sure if it does exist for Intel. But what you need to do, you need to disable the FTPM option. You need to go there and make sure it's disabled, because right now on Linux, there is an issue related to this specific piece of hardware in the motherboard that make your system freeze from time to time randomly. And it needs to be addressed by AMD, but they didn't do it yet. So, I don't want you to install Linux Mint and be like, oh, I have this bug where my system freeze from time to time. Well, it's an AMD issue related to the BIOS. It has nothing to do with the operating system. I'm pretty sure if you use Windows, you're going to have the same problem again. So really think about that, deactivate it. Okay, now let's go back to the old part of the video and get into the process of the install. Sorry about that again. We are going to make sure we boot on the second partition of the USB key. Click on that, and boom. So here, this is all the ISO I installed on my Ventoy, and also customize the Ventoy appearance here. Pretty sweet, if you ask me. A big fan of Arch Linux, as you know. And I have a Windows 10 here, Rhino Linux, an ISO I want to try. And this is a Linux Mint, like the latest one with Cinnamon. And here Garuda and Arch Linux. So we're going to boot on Linux Mint. Here you just choose boot in normal mode, no problem. And boom, you are in. So here I really advise you to start with the first one, no compatibility mode, you don't need it. And you will see it's magical. So I don't know if you heard, but by just booting on the USB key, I already have my sound card detected and working right off the bat. So here, if you don't really want to start, you know, playing with it, and you want to go straight to the install, you go there. But if you want to have fun, everything is accessible. You have most of the application which are there. And you will see that all your hard drive, like your Bluetooth, your printer, like I don't want to click on it, your network, everything is going to be working right off the bat. So here is recognizing my mixer and also my sound card within my motherboard. We can switch here.
Front, left.
And I'm pretty sure
Front,
right. it's gonna work. So I didn't put the the correct cable in the mixer, so that's why it's reversed. It's my fault, but it's work. Like, think about it. Remember in the previous video when I was telling you everything works right off the bat, I was not lying to you. It's just awesome. So let's go through the install together. Click on this baby. So obviously your hard drive, you want to install it, is already plugged on your motherboard or with a little tool I was talking about earlier. Okay, just make sure it's there. So here you choose your language, continue, your keyboard. So because I'm writing in both French and English, I really like this one, the US International with that key. With that I can do all my accents. Woohoo. So you choose that. Then he asks you if you want to install the multimedia codec. You say yes, you continue. The installer has detected that the following disk have mounted partition, dev SDB. So I'm pretty sure that this is the actual USB key installed. So here you don't need to unmount them. You just say no problem. And then you decide how you want to install it. So you might have different options here. The one I really recommend for a beginner is go with erase disk and install Linux Mint. And then you have advanced feature here. So you can use a special way of partitioning the disk with LVM. I wouldn't install that. And you could also use ZFS. So ZFS is a really good file system, but it's more oriented toward people who have multiple hard drive, and I don't want to get there. Make your research, but I wouldn't recommend using ZFS on a SSD. Okay, so then you click on continue, and then you have to select your drive. So here, don't make any mistake if you have multiple drive. I have 3 SSD in this machine. So this is my 2 NVMe drive, and here is the SSD, the Kingston, the one I was showing you before, on which I'm going to install Mint. And here, this is the SanDisk Extreme USB key I'm using to boot. So I'm going to selection this one. But as you can already see here, I can tell that my UEFI partition is going to be written on this drive. Okay, so don't forget that. Really important. And the best case scenario is to remove those 2 NVMe drive or to deactivate them. I personally don't care because I know how it works and I can do it on my own. So no issue for me. But for you, I would really advise, again, to remove the other drive. So you go there, the entire disk will be used, no problem, Linux Mint. And that's all. Click on install. It's going to ask you again, it's going to show you what type of partition it's going to create there. So you say, okay, continue. Then you choose your region. I'm in Toronto. He found it, so perfect. Now your name. So my name is gonna be Air Max. I'm gonna call this computer Tuto. Oh, sorry, Tuto Mint. Username Air Max. Then you choose a really complicated password. Whoa! Remember it. You can decide to log in automatically or require my password to log in. I will always like go for this one, but it's your choice, ready? And then encrypt your home folder. It's something you can do if you're scared about your laptop or desktop to be stolen. I don't really care. This is for the tutorial, but this is the one you want to check if you are scared about the situation. Now we continue. And it's going to start the install. So it's 6 p.m. and 18 minutes, so 6:18. We'll see how long it takes. And voila, it took us less than 2 minutes. Yeah, I know, it's pretty crazy. So now we're gonna restart and Linux should be installed. Okay, so if I did a good job, we should have Linux starting. So make sure that you removed your actual USB key from the PC, because it could be a problem. I didn't do it because I don't care. I know my machine is going to boot on the latest install anyways. You're at the login screen, so you see my name here. I choose. I'm going to type my password. Woohoo! Sound is working. Resolution seems way better than before, and here we are. Welcome to Linux Mint. You're good to go, boys. So now we're gonna go through the first step you need to go through to make sure everything runs fine. But you will see it's pretty easy. So the first step is clicking here on the on the little part here called first step. You can change the desktop color. Okay, launch. I like when it's dark. Thank you for my eyes. And we're gonna go, yeah, blue like that. I like it. I won't really spend too much time there. Here it asks you if you want to do some system snapshot. Okay, so click. They're gonna ask you your password. Go for your password. Here you want to choose AirSync. It's gonna go through your SSD. We're gonna do it, you will see why, because I want to start fresh. So this is my actual hard drive. I installed everything on. Okay, with Linux Mint, I know it. So you choose that, you click next, and then schedule snapshot are enabled. Snapshot will be created at select interval if snapshot has a disk enough disk space. So here is what we're gonna do. We won't be activating that, okay? Here, user home directory are excluded by default. So just to make sure you understand, I'm not activating that because I want to do it manually, okay? If you do it in a scheduled way, I don't want this to happen when I'm playing or anything, so I'd rather do it manually when I do a big upgrade or I'm scared about something. That's why I don't want to do it scheduled. Then user home directory are excluded by default unless you want to enable them here. So here you choose whatever you want to do. I personally think that you should include all files there on your home directory if you want to. This is your personal choice. So most of your data is going to be here. If you want to do a snapshot just related to the system file, you exclude everything. If you want to have some of your file, well, you click there. So me, I would advise not to save your home folder because you should save it somewhere else anyways. Yeah, we just want to make sure that if we break our system, we can go back to the previous version. And that's all. It's complete. So this is done. Right now, you can press create if you want, and it will create a snapshot. Simple as that. I don't want to do a snapshot now. I'm pretty confident. I'm running Arch, by the way. I don't do snapshot, boys. So now the driver manager. This little application is going to tell you if you need some driver. So you click on that. And it's going to be looking for driver. And boom, look what he found. He found that you have an Nvidia card. Woohoo! And he proposed you if you want to upgrade to the 525 version or the 535/86 version. So my recommendation is always to go with the latest version available. Here it's 535. You click on apply changes. It's going to ask for your password. Type it again. And it's going to install them. It's really hard, huh? You remember all those like posts on those forums where they were telling you, oh, it's so hard. It always breaks. I can't deal with it anymore. I'm going back to Windows 10 and Candy Crush Saga. Yeah. That's all I have to do on this specific distribution. On the other distribution, those guys might be right. But even though, I can show you a way to install driver like really easily, even on Arch. We have the tool for that. But let's focus on Mint first. So now it's installed. He asks you if you want to restart the computer, and I guarantee you wanna restart. So you click on restart, and boom. Okay, we are back. And the good news, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be running the Nvidia driver right now. Easy way to do that, to go on display settings. So right click on the desktop, display settings, exactly like in Windows. And here, if I have the Nvidia driver, I should have 144 Hz on this screen. Apply. And yep, we are good to go. So just in case you didn't know, with the Nuvo driver, I couldn't get this type of refresh rate, only with the proprietary driver. So another thing you can do, you can go here at the start menu and type Nvidia. You're gonna have the settings for Nvidia here. And you can see the driver are installed here. And it did recognize my graphic card here. So as you can see, it's not as developed as the one on Windows, but it's working. And for playing video game, it is plenty enough. So we'll get there after to show you what are the settings, optimize the setting for gaming, etc., etc. Right now, we're gonna keep it to running the first like different step after installing Linux Mint. So we did the desktop, we did the snapshot, we did the driver. So now we're gonna do the update manager. So this is the most important part. As you can see here, you have a little icon. So you have an icon here for the Bluetooth. You have an icon for your printer, your network, the sound. And here you have a special like icon called the Update Manager. And this is what we're going to open. You can see here. So if I click here or I click there, it should be the same result. Boom, the Update Manager is there. So I'm going to make that a little bit bigger for you to really get it. Welcome to the Update Manager. This will provide you operating system with software and security updates. Blah, blah, blah. So you click on OK. A new version of the Update Manager is available. Please update. Again, type your password. It's going to update it. You will see it's pretty neat. It did restart. So now you have the up-to-date version of it. And what it's going to show you is going to show you all the packets that need to be upgraded right now. So we're going to refresh them just for showing you. It's going to go through the process. And here is all you need to install after a fresh install. And here you have a little question. Do you want to switch to a local mirror? Local mirror are usually faster than the packages from Linux Mint. So I won't do that because it's going to be easy to find my location if I do that. But you should do it. Click yes, go through the process. It's pretty easy. You're going to have a list of servers and you're going to pick the one which are the nearest to your own location. We don't care. I don't care here. I'm going to install the update. This is what you need to do. You install the update. Super important. It's going to show you like what are the other packages and dependencies that need to be installed. Here, easy. You click OK. And let's go. Ho ho. I'm telling you, this is pretty sweet. I want to be clear with you. I really love Linux Mint. I believe with this specific Linux distribution, you never have to touch the terminal. Like never. I will do it because, you know, I like it. Maybe in this tutorial. But if you don't like it and you don't have to deal with it, you don't have to. Which is pretty neat. So he's upgrading the Linux firmware, the kernel. It's a pretty big update. But I'm super confident. And here we go. You're good. So here you have installed the update that require a reboot to take effect. Please reboot your system. Okay, not now. Then you have the system settings. I really like it because they look really like Windows and you can change everything here. So I will let you discover that. There is no rush there. But you have access to everything. And it's pretty straightforward. Now the software manager. This is what I really want to talk about because I think it's great. So let's launch this beast. Here we go. So this, in my opinion, is the best software manager available for Linux. So I didn't try a lot. I maybe tried like 25 or 30 distro before I stick with Arch from a desktop perspective. But the one that really like marked me is this one. And I'm going to show you why. So if you have no idea what you are looking for, you can go through those categories and it will kind of like show you the one available. So let's say you want some type of like graphic tool. You're going to click on graphic here. And you're going to have every software related to graphic. All of them available for the distro. But then watch, you can search by category at the bottom. And I think this is why it's really awesome when it comes to discovering Linux, because you have to learn all those new software. And me, when I switched from Windows to Linux, it was not really hard because most of the software I was already using on Windows was open source software. So I knew most of those. But if you come from Windows and you are already used to proprietary software, you're going to have to learn a little bit. And this is such a great way to learn. So let's say you want to draw something. You're going to click on the draw category here. And now you have all your draw software. So you know GIMP, I guess. If you click on it, you're going to have a little description, a little, screenshot of it. And then you're going to have all the review here. And then you can choose if you want to install it as a system package. And it's going to be the 2.10 version. Or if you want to use the Flatpak version, which is the 2.10.34. It's a little bit more recent. And you choose. You want to go with the Flatpak or you want to go with the system one? Your call. So for the sake of science, I'm going to install the flat pack one. And as you understand, you see the size here will be 1.4 gigabyte to download and 3.5 gigabyte on the hard drive. But if I go with a Linux system, it's going to be 20 megabyte to download and 100 megabyte on the disk space. So why would I go with one or another? If you don't want to have any headache and make sure that you have all the dependency, everything ready to go to run any piece of software, I will highly recommend you to go through Flatpak. This is the easiest way to not make any mistake. The counterpart is that because every of the software you're going to install is going to be totally containerized within Flatpak, it's going to take way more space than if you were just using the one within the distro. So here it's just your call and your experience. I would say if you have the space on your SSD hard drive, just go with a Flatpak if you have a really fast connection. If you are limited in space, you kind of like know what you are doing, I would say go with the other version. Personally, if you are a beginner, stick with a Flatpak. So we're going to install it. And you see it's going to have to install a lot of dependency, but it's okay. Click on continue, and it's going to install the application and the dependency, everything. So you don't have to stay here. You can let it install and go through the other option you have. Krita is a really good alternative too. And again, you can choose here which version you want to download. You have Inkscape too. Like, I don't know if you know it, this is really good for all the type of like vectorial illustration you want to go through. This thing is awesome. And you can tell, you see the local one is 1.1, but if you go Flatpak, you're going to have the 1.3 version, which is just awesome. And now you have all those applications in your hand. All of them. You can install everything. So this is pretty awesome. And that's really one of the reasons I believe Linux Mint is perfect for the beginner. Something I really like to use is this application called HTOP. If you go on it, you can install it, and it's going to give you a pretty good idea of the resource used on your machine. So here you just click install, type the password, and install. And boom, it's installed. So we're going to go there, type HTOP, and click here, and it's going to work. And now you have access to HTOP, which is showing the usage of everything. And then we're going to reboot. Okay, this should be done. So up, menu, restart. Exactly like on Windows. We're going to restart. Ooh. Okay, back at it. And voila, you are now running Linux. So you can configure your firewall here. But let's say you want to do it. You choose your profile, I would say you activate it, and voila. Next step, you're gonna go through all those icons. I'm gonna make sure I'm using the right card. So we're gonna go through this baby here. I'm gonna put the sound loud, and I'm gonna launch a YouTube page real quick to have an idea. Ooh, I like this guy.
Listen, there's a good chance somebody's trying to hack your website right now.
Sound is working, definitively. When my father-in-law asked me for help for his PC, you hear the sound? I'm not sure at 100% I will do it. And I will tell you why. If you are the techie guy in any family, it's working. You know what I'm talking about. Each time there is a problem, and we can even watch it in 4K, I'm pretty sure. With a PC of any member, no problem, dude. No problemo. So everything is working out of the box. Sound is okay. Yeah, we're good. So now at the bottom, you have this showing you that the system report and require your attention. So we're going to click on it. So what's happening? Oh, install the language pack. Okay. I'm going to install them. Continue. Installed. And now here, if I click on this baby here to check if everything is up to date. Pretty sure it is. Perfect. So now the next step is going to be about video gaming and setting everything up to optimize this baby to run like a beast. So guys, did I forget something? Please let me know in the comment below what you think about this tutorial. Also, in the next video, I'm going to be covering how to optimize Linux Mint for gaming. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bisous bisous.